we are here today for some fun stuff. Chatbots. What even are? Because I guess that's the thing. It is a new aspect, and it's only recently been rolled out. I was a beta tester of this back at the beginning of last year, and first round, like with all first round things, I was a little underwhelmed, and I was like, it's kind of helpful, but it feels a bit like botty for want of a better word. But the amount that it has improved and the way the answers have improved is so awesome. If you are not sure, and if you are here, if you could just mute for me and then do the questions at the end, that'd be awesome. If you want to test the bot out, if you're like, well, what even is this? If you come into our community and you come into this Ask a Q, this is the bot. This is the bot that we have created for Unicorn Heroes, our product, to help our members use Kajabi. I've had Unicorn Heroes now for over 4 years. So I have 4 years worth of live Q&As where I've been answering Kajabi questions pretty much every week, plus a heap of tutorials and other resources. And usually in the past, when I would have got a question, I would be like, okay, or me or one of my team would have gone, let me find that for you, and looked up the resource, given someone a link, go and look here. But a lot of that gold content that is buried in those Q&As that I've done, where it's not a specific training and I haven't chopped it up or done anything like that, it's just like, here's the replay, that's kind of lost and it's a little bit buried. And sometimes it would be, if someone would ask a question, I'm like, oh, I remember I covered that, oh, let me check when, and I couldn't remember the exact date, and we'd go back and look through. Well, now we don't have to worry about that. I've trained the bot on all of the content inside Unicorn Heroes. So for example, I've said, how can I sell an ebook without a product? So it has actually gone through. I mean, this has even improved from a few months ago when I first sort of started doing this, and it's given the specific steps. So it's actually going, here, literally, here is how you do it. And if you want further references, it has got some references that it's going back to through different products that I have trained it on. And the really great thing as well, and I do apologize if you're not able to access this yet, once I sort you out with Unicorn Heroes, access at the end of the week. If you're a hero, you can access this now. This is locked down content. So like I said, even if I'm training and it's giving you the answer, it's still pretty helpful if you're not a member. But if you are a member, you can then click into the exact place. And when you go into it, it's going to take you, if you're on the right plan, to that specific part of the call. So it's not even going to say, here's a call, go and find the bit in the call. It's actually going to timestamp it to the specific section of the call. So, oh my gosh, you cannot underestimate. Like I've had someone ask me, like, is it worth it? And it's like, how much value is your time? The amount of time I spend answering questions, and don't get me wrong, I freaking love answering Kajabi questions, but I love it the most when I'm on live calls like this, and the having to find resources I find a little bit stressful. Having to go and get the links, and so I'll get someone to help me, and then it's that whole, oh, where was that again? And that's the stuff that takes time, and I don't have to do that anymore, pretty much. I'll go into more how to train these, but that time saving, I just went straight to the top plan, which is $99 a month, because how much do you value your time at per hour? For me, that will pay itself back tenfold. And even if you have a team, you are paying your team probably an hourly rate. If not, if they're on salary, you're paying for their time to be doing that for you. So when you have a bot that gives an answer like in seconds, so there's no waiting for an email, there's no someone sends it in and then you've got to wait, being able to actually train these and get them up on your site to be really, really helpful. I'm excited. And this new integration where it goes straight into the community is also phenomenal, super, super helpful. So this is what the bots do. They will be trained on the content that you provide, and whether that's your course materials, it can be YouTube, it can be your website, blog, podcast. It's not going to train on your podcast audio, but it is going to train on your transcription if you've got your transcription and or the summary. And it's actually going to go through your course video content and essentially transcribe the content into its bot memory so that the bot can then find that part of that specific video and give people that reference. So yes, very, very, very helpful. But like I said, if someone doesn't have access to the product that it references, they'll be able to read, the material. They just won't be able to actually go and dive deeper and actually get into your content. So I really love that because it holds it back so that you are not like giving free for all and your content is out there and anyone can rip it off. So it's a really nice balance between that. But that is just one use case for the bot. There are lots of other things that you can do. So I'm going to get into that, but I just wanted to show you that. And if you are in the community, go and try it, like put some questions in, see what the answers are. Let me know your experience of doing that and how helpful you find the answer. I mean, it's still not, I'd say it's never going to be 100% perfect. But honestly, to even do that where it's like the steps mapped out, like, so it's not like, oh, go and watch this and I go through it. It's actually summarizing it. Man, like, that is so helpful. That is so helpful. So yes, that's under start here and ask a Q. And yes, you can tell that like I grew up on The Simpsons. Santa's little helper. So Suey's little helper is my bot name. I'm trying to come up with cool bot names. So I'll share how I am doing that later. Sometimes it's just off the cuff and sometimes I'm using ChatGPT to help. Okay, so let's go and have a look in our actual bots themselves. Now, before we sort of go too deep, you might be wondering why it's Creator.io and what that has to do with Kajabi. Well, Creator.io is actually a Kajabi company. So it's part of Kajabi. They're like very closely linked, but it's not built into Kajabi itself. And the great thing about that is that you can use the Creator.io bots on your Kajabi site and you can train it on your Kajabi content. You can integrate it directly, but you can also use the bots elsewhere. So it doesn't have to just be on your Kajabi site. The only restriction with doing that is that if you use the bots elsewhere, that content that is locked down, like if you're using, content that's behind a paywall, they're not going to be able to reference it, but the answer will still be helpful. So so Creator.io is a part of Kajabi. Brent, who is the product manager for Creator.io, is also the product manager at Kajabi for coaching and some of the other products. So it's, this is Kajabi, but it's like a separate arm. I don't know why they've done that, but yeah, so it's part of Kajabi, but something to bear in mind because it's not directly in your Kajabi account like the Creator Studio and communities and some of those other things. You do need to actually create a separate Creator.io account. So it's not like you can just go to Kajabi and click into it. That I'm not sure if that's going to change or if it will be kept separate. So you will need a Creator.io account in addition to your Kajabi account. So pricing. So there is a free bot, so you can set up a free bot and play around with it. And I would highly encourage you to do that because I think once you do, you'll be like, oh my God, the possibilities are so awesome. But even the $10 a month to be able to get 5 different bots, and I'll show you why that can be helpful in a sec. That is a bargain. Like I said, like just think of if this saved you 5 emails a month or 5 questions where you then had to go and look something up, like, is that worth $10? Oh my God, yes. Like for me anyway, if you're right at the very beginning, I don't know, maybe you might be like, oh, I just want to start on the free plan for now. But yeah, personally, I just went straight to the one with the maximum number of resources so I can make it do the most for me. And I'm in the process of building out the different bots so that I can use them in different areas because I can have up to 15, which means I can make specific bots for specific sections. So we sell Kajabi templates. Like I might make a template bot that's just going to direct people to the best template, like because we get lots of questions like what's included, should I go this one or that one, like which design, like stuff like that we could put on an FAQ page for sure. But it's so much nicer when someone can integrate, and then as you'll see in a sec, we can have it set up so it's like, hey, would you like a free sample of these templates? And then you can take that person's contact information, basically getting them into a funnel or doing that lead gen right within the bot. So you don't need to set up a form on the page. One of the jobs that I have on my list that has not progressed because I'm a bit like, ugh, that's a crappy job, is going through every template page, because we have a sales page for every design, and we have 12 designs, and adding a pop-up to the page saying, would you, like our free template sampler pack? So this way, I don't need to do the pop-up or any of that. I can just go and add a custom block and put the bot, and then any changes that I make to the bot, anything, are made in one place. So I can just, maybe change the wording. I could tweak what page comes up. I could add extra information, and it's all going to be, reflected across all of the different pages. So it doesn't matter how many times you use the same bot. What is based on is how many chatbots that you use, the resources that you train it with. So obviously different across different platforms. The transcription minutes for content that you add. Now, transcription minutes are for if you add YouTube. Actually, no, YouTube videos don't count. If you add your course content, and I don't know, the videos are like 14 hours worth of videos, you might need to either go up to the top plan while you load all of that in, or just get some extra transcription minutes that month, or look at different ways. And I'm going to show you different ways that you can add things in. Andrew, I'm just going to mute you. And yeah, so we can go deeper into that. And if you've got any questions about that, you can ask me. But yeah, it's basically figuring out like what's going to give you the best benefit. But yeah, I would highly recommend at least do one. Go and set up an account with this and have a play around with it, because I think you'll be really like, wow, this is cool. And so there are different bots for different situations. So when you go to create a chatbot, you will have the choice of a sales bot, a lead generation bot, a teaching assistant, and customer support. And depending on your plan, you can actually create multiple bots. Now, these three, the lead gen, the teaching assistant, and the customer support, they follow kind of a similar-ish process. The sales bot, though, that is new. That's only just come out, and that has a really cool extra feature, which I'll show you. So these are going to sort of help ask you for some information as you set it up. So this is not some take 14 years to set up process. Like, you can actually train it on a lot of your content. And as you set these up, it'll ask you some questions. So say, for example, we're going to set up a teaching assistant. It's going to say, what should we call you? So, you can add your business in, or I might say Sue from the Unicorn Advisory, adding in what problems that you solve for people, and also listing what you sell. So you can go through and from that, it's going to sort of set up the base of your bot, and then you can then go and add in additional things to refine it after that. And then with the sales bot, the benefit that has, I'm going to go through this and just sort of set it up like this, just so you can see. And we can go and customize like the background and the color of the buttons, because you probably maybe black is your brand color, but being able to actually customize like what color are the two different text boxes and what color is the button. So I'm just going to call that sales. We can actually add product pages, and this is really, really powerful, and I'll show you one that I've set up earlier. So you can actually go through and add all information about all of your different products. Now, I guess this is where the sales bot is a little bit different to the bots where it's just scraping information. This allows you to be more specific. So if you have different products and you're putting this on your, if you're in the Lizzie Goddard world and you're using an everything page, or you have lots of different digital products, or you've got products and coaching and, done for you services, templates like we have, we've got a few different things, then you can actually go through and add the different things, add in a description. So you can add a URL to either the checkout page or a sales page. You can choose, adding a product title, and then adding as much description as you can. So this is one of those ones where I had a chat about with Brent, and I was like, oh, doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose that you put all the information in the description? Like, aren't we using these to kind of scrape it? But as I'll show you in a sec, like adding it in here allows the bot to get context specifically around that product and then direct the customer to it. So it is going to pull information from pages that you load as well. But when you want it to do the specific thing, which I'll show you in a sec, then yeah, like adding this in. And I just went to my checkouts, because usually on a checkout, you've got like a summarized version, and my headphones just died. So I apologize. 1 second. I'm just going to go grab my headphones so I can hear. Sorry. So yeah, so the this is the summary. So I just went to the sales page, like the checkout's going to have the summary of it anyway. And please let me know if you can still hear me. I thought I had charged my headphones overnight, but audio devices. Hopefully you can hear me still. Okay. Fingers crossed. But I'll show you the one that I've set up in advance so you can get an idea of the kind of information. You can hear me, awesome. That is put out, and when I set this up last night, because this is my first time with the sales bot because it is really new, I probably spent 5 minutes. And when I saw what came out of it after 5 minutes work, I was just like, I'm putting these bots all over my site, so you will see them. And that's why I kind of want to come up with cool names for them as well to make them a little bit more fun, because we're in the unicorn world, and you are able to customize them, to your brand, which is nice to a degree. So let's go and have a look at one that I created earlier. And you can test that teaching assistant bot. That is the Sui's little helper in the community. And the other ones I'm still playing around with. So once I've got some more of those, I will share. And, this is also another great thing that I'm going to add into our Passion with Kajabi, community, is if you've got a bot, let's share bots with each other and, see if you've got some cool things. So we've got this sales bot that I created. And for example, I have linked up, this is all I linked up, like this was less than a 5-minute job. I've linked up 3 offers, actually 2 offers and a sales page. And to be honest, that sales page wasn't probably even the most helpful because it covers lots of products. So to refine this further, I'll probably make a bot just for the templates. I also linked my work with us page and the website in general as well. So that scraped every page on the website. It scraped that page specifically. So I probably didn't need to do both, but this is where, again, because I'm on the top line, I've got heaps of capacity to add in the extra resources. If you didn't, that's where using, being a bit strategic about the pages that you use to train it will be helpful and keep you under your data source limit. And then with my little chatbot, I asked some questions. So this would come up on the page when someone clicks on it, hi, and I said, hi, I want help with Kajabi. So this is the answer that it's given, and this links directly to a checkout. So I'll leave you there, to read it. And some of that information that's kind of pulled from that checkout summary, but I'm like, I don't even, I don't have to do anything. And so then, it said, okay, well, this might be a way to help you because someone said, so someone could click onto that and go straight into my checkout page, which with the other bots that aren't the sales bot, they don't have that same behavior. And that's why you're adding in those specific data sources, because it's pulling those things specifically. And then I said, do you sell templates? And it says yes. And, in a way that I don't feel is like icky. Like I'm not like, oh, that doesn't sound like what I would say. I'm like, oh my gosh, you beautiful, helpful bot. You just saved me an email if someone, asked if we sell templates. And so again, it's given some information, but this is where, because I was doing it really quickly, I tried to sort of do for the templates in total. And so I just kind of copied something, and I think I'd go back and refine that a little bit more and maybe do, rather than trying to sort of say, here's a sales page for all 16 template collections, I would actually go and put each one in one by one to sort of help train it a little bit more specifically. But it is still linking to that template stock. And then I said, what if I need more personal help? And then it has given someone a link to my Hour of Power strategy call. And as well, it's taken the information and tells them about it. So I'm like, oh, thank you. So that is an example of something that you can do with the bot. And what I would suggest, if you do want to start on the free plan, or if you're like, well, this sounds cool, but I don't know if I want to spend too much money on it, or I'm like, which one bot should I choose if I'm on the free plan? What I would do is suggest thinking about what bot is potentially going to make you more money. Like this potentially, I haven't set it up, so I don't have definitive proof, but this could potentially help people at the point of sale, at the point of making decisions about whether to buy your products, especially if you've got lots of little products. This could be really, really helpful. If I was going to be doing a launch for a new program, I would 100% make a bot, and train it on that program, maybe even, create an FAQ doc Something like that where you can train it and have it on the page so that is there to sort of be that field for first response if people have questions, where the bot is able to answer the easy stuff so that then you're only getting questions that are beyond, the bot, or the bot sort of giving answers that aren't enough for people. So that's again why I like that. You can have multiple bots, and even on that $10 a month, you can still have 5 bots, which I reckon gives you, a lot of flexibility to create different things for different situations. So yes, I'm a fan. Okay, so with the data sources for a bot, I'll just show you on this one, but the sales bot specifically will also have this extra product area. So that isn't built into the other bots, that's specifically to this. And Kajabi are looking at refining it and, doing what they can to sort of improve that. And, it was really nice to see this feature because then it does include those links and it does make it far more specific. So not all of the bots will have that, but you can train on a URL, you can upload a file, you can link to a YouTube. And if you are linking to YouTube, the great thing is it does not count towards your transcription minutes, because YouTube, the transcript, YouTube does it for all videos on YouTube. So training on YouTube videos, if you've already got a YouTube channel, is probably insanely helpful. And especially if you're wanting to have it answer questions where you've got 2-3 years worth of YouTube content. Like, I can just see that being amazingly helpful, to direct people back to a really a relevant YouTube video, but also because it's going to be able to give them answers based on what you would potentially say in that situation, because going through and it's looking at all that you have done and then answering accordingly. So YouTube won't count towards your transcription minutes. Course content and videos inside Kajabi will, but because you can add different things, like you can add URLs, they won't count towards transcription minutes, but they will count towards resources. So every single lesson in Kajabi, every single page that you reference on your website will count towards a resource. One of the things I was very excited to hear is coming, and I'll show you the integration with Kajabi in a sec, is at the moment, if you log your entire website, it will have all pages of your website come up, but you can come in and edit the pages and uncheck some. So if you're all right, scrape the entire website for me, bot, and it'll go and do that in the background. It'll take a little bit of time, but you can go through going, I don't know if I need that, and just sort of uncheck the specific pages, or you can do it the opposite and load them page at a time and just give it the specific pages that you want. So yeah, because that is probably the thing. I keep going to the wrong one. Put that over there. With the resources on that free bot is that you only get 50. So I'd be, probably more strategic and picking them out one by one when you have the free bot. I mean, even 150 is pretty cool. Like, if you've got courses, it depends how many courses, how big the courses are, how many YouTube videos you have. Like, if you have a YouTube channel that's got 20 videos and you've got a course that's got 20 lessons and, a few website pages and maybe an FAQ doc, you are 100% good to go. But if you have got years of content, that's where it's potentially going to be up in this end, and there is a way if you have more, because, and I'll go into that more, and I keep saying I'm going to go into that in a sec, but I will get to how to train that bot further. You can add additional onto it. So at any point, say you have a month in the first month, so you could add extra transcription minutes just for that first month while you're loading all of your content, or maybe you release a new course and you want to load all of the references to that course. Maybe just for that month, you can go up a plan or just add the transcription minutes just for that month to get everything loaded in. And that can be a one-off thing. So there's ways where you can sort of be more flexible within the plan structure as well. One other thing as well, before I go back into the training, this message credits, because I've had some questions about that. This is essentially the AI, OpenAI message credits that it uses, and coming soon, I think if it's not in there now, I think it's going to be in there in the next couple of days, is the choice of which GPT model that you use. And I won't go too deep into this. There's lots of information about how to choose the best one, but basically there's GPT 3.5 and 4 will be the options. And 3.5 is cheaper to run. It uses less credits per answer. but it gives a less robust response. You know, it's not as accurate or good, and maybe it doesn't sound quite as good. ChatGPT 4, if you use that, will use more message credits per response, per answer, but it'll be a lot better quality. So it's a case of, you know, volume. So you will have the option to choose that. At the moment, as of, you know, right now, we can't, but that will be coming if it's, you know, within days, that option will be there. So, and also as well, if you are high volume use and you're finding that you are using up all those credits, you can add more. And maybe it's like during launch season, you're just getting like, you know, your bot's getting slammed. That may be a time when you can add extra credits just for that specific month. But, you know, at this plan, like 50 message credits, that's not heaps, which is where, you know, maybe just even that $10 is going to give you significantly more. But yeah, that's a, you know, use it and see. You'll sort of get to know, it'll tell you your credit, you know, as you use them, how many you're using up. So you can make a decision on whether you need to go more or change the model. Things like that. Has anyone got any questions specifically before I go into a little bit more of training your bot and how to set that up?
So I've tried the customer service bot, and I've also tried lead generation. It just wasn't emailing me the leads.
Yes.
So you have to, and I might have missed, you might have mentioned that.
I haven't got up to that yet, but that is in my my coming soon, like wish list kind of situation. Yeah.
Yes. So, okay. Is there a way to turn it on so it does alert you when there's a customer waiting there and has made an inquiry?
At this point, no, because the idea of the bot, this isn't like a chat. The bot is meant to work in the background. It's not meant to be one of those things where it does alert you in real time. And there are ways that you can set it up so you can, at a certain point, put a message in. So I'll show you how to do that to say, hey, you know, because you want people to know that this is a bot. You don't want to be pretending like it's some kind of live customer service. So you can choose at how many messages someone asks, like saying, hey, can I have the email? Or you can ask for that right up front. Like, in case we get disconnected, let me know your email and I can, you know, pass that to the team and we can get back to you, or something along those lines. But yes, the one thing where I was like, when I talked to Brent last night, I was like, let me guess, this question is everyone's question. Like, when are the leads going to be integrated into Kajabi? And he just laughed and was like, yes, that is literally everyone's question. So at the moment, you don't get a notification. That is coming soon. Like, you gave me the roadmap, and that is like within weeks, we'll at least get a summary to say you have leads, like, and you can choose whether it's, you know, hourly, weekly, daily, but it's not going to be like the leads sort of delivered. You still need to, you can download a spreadsheet and pop them in. So at the moment, that's probably one of the clunkiest aspects. But it is, Kajabi are very, very aware that, you know, if you're going to use something for lead gen, that we need to have the leads going into Kajabi. So they are working on that actively. And then also what happens to the leads once they go in, like whether the lead is then going to get tagged. So, you know, or some kind of automations are going to trigger, because that's part of, like, you get the lead in there and then what? Like, are we, you know, adding them to a form? Is that like going to trigger things? Like, what's going to happen? So that is coming, but he was like, I'm not going to commit to specifically when, but the notifications of leads and or activity on the bots coming to your email, that is within weeks. So.
Okay, fantastic. That's exciting.
I know.
Because I was using, I was using a Zoho bot, and that did feed directly into my CRM. Yeah. And so I'm hopeful for Kajabi organising that too.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, because that's the missing link, I guess, at this point.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
No worries. No worries. Okay. So has anyone else got any questions about the different types of bots and different situations? I'm going to show you some of the ones that I've set up and what I've trained them on, in case that's helpful. Otherwise, if you got a question, just pop it into the chat. Okay, so this unicornia sales bot, I need to come up with a better name, because this name is what the bot comes up like on the website. So, you know, and I did use ChatGPT. These are some, like, I kind of like advisory, but yeah, because this name, like, I was like, give me something fun and playful, and, you know, and then I was like, I don't know, I would use this as maybe it can spark some ideas. I didn't sort of have it come up with anything. Like, these were all a bit And then I think I had said that I want to use the word advisor because we've got a name for our community. As the Unicorn Advisory, we're calling our community the advisory, not like Unicorn Advisory Community, because that's a bit wordy. So I was like, all right, what's something that I can do with advice? And then I was like, like all of those are just like, they could not be further away from my personality. Maybe cheery advisor, but that doesn't seem very botty. So, you could be like, all right, give me some names of advisors. So a prompt that I put in, was it with this one? Yeah, so I'll come back to the other one. Sometimes when I'm putting things into ChatGPT, I'll put in some information and then I'll say, does that give you enough information or do you need more? I sort of just put, does that context help you come up with name ideas? No, I'd put that in the beginning. So yeah, some of these were pretty not helpful, but this is one of those things with ChatGPT. It rarely comes up with the exact thing. But, use the tools, even use Armor within Kajabi if that's something that would help. And yeah, you can name each of your bots a different thing. One thing I would love on my wish list is that I would love the bot to still be called the same thing on the whole site. So instead of, because for me, when I was like, which one is which, I would love for it to be the lead bot, like the customer assistant bot. So it's unicornia everywhere, but the different bots. And I guess I could just have one bot, like that is, something, and I would potentially do that under the sales area. So I will be playing around with and I'll report back on like the concept of using like one master bot that does everything versus a single bot. So I think personally that it would be more helpful to have those single bots that are more specific than sort of one generic bot. But yeah, I will definitely report back on that. So this one, Sui's Little Helper. This is the one that is trained on my Unicorn Heroes content. That is the one that is inside the community. So, where you can click into ask a Q in here and it's going to come up. So Sui's Little Helper bot, you can change the name and the link of it. So it's going to give you a link so you can share someone to a link, which will just open it up on a browser window. So when you go into the name, you can choose it. So I've just called that Heroes for, I think originally it was Hero Bot. And then when you are embedding it onto your website or elsewhere, then you can get that embed link. So when you're putting it into your community, you get this actual, the link that's in the share link. And then when you are embedding it, which I'll show you how to do a little bit later, the embed link is how to put it into other areas of your website. Your data sources, this is where you can choose. So I've added my Unicorn Heroes course, which has a whopping 339 lessons in it. So, it's a membership that's been going for 4 years. So, if you've also got a similar situation where you've had a membership that's got years of content, this is one of the best ways to actually help people get the most value out of that content, because when searching that much on your own, it can be difficult to find an actually helpful resource because there's so many options and choices. So this will pick the 3 best resources and recommend them. But once you have connected it to a course, you can actually go through and remove. So this is where if your resource limit is really high, so you could load up your entire course and then uncheck specific things if you wanted to. So, there's some of the things in here which, because the program's 4 years old, it would be helpful if I went through and actually removed references to some of them, because I'm like, I don't know if that's really going to be that helpful, and that will mean that I don't have as many lessons. Again, on the coming soon, that is when you do have this integration, so you can choose. So when you want to add, like once you've got your Kajabi site integrated, I can go into here into Kajabi, select an option, and this is where I'm like showing you my messy back end. I'm on the pro plan, and I do a lot of playing in Kajabi, so I've got a lot of courses that aren't actually courses, like they're just things where I've been playing around. So you have to scroll through and find your courses. But you go into all of your different courses, and you can then when you click on it, so say I add this course in here and add the source, that at this point in time is going to add the entire course content. Once you click add source, it is then going to scrape all of that, create transcriptions in its system of your content, and then be able to give references with timestamps if you're on the plan that allows that back to that content. what Kajabi are doing in future, instead of just adding a course, you will be able to pick and choose the content that you bring in. So, if you're on that free plan where you've only got the 50 resources, but your course has got 100 lessons, that's not going to work. So it'll let it so that you can pick individual, so you can actually go through at the time. So you're not loading it and then removing. So that is also coming soon, which I think is really helpful. But you can add multiple courses if you've got the resources. One of the other things with having the multiple bots, which is why I was wondering about having that like one central bot at the moment, which is also, I was so delighted when I, discovered how many things are going to be changing and improving, which is normal whenever there's any new things like this. At the moment, if I had two different bots and they're both referencing the same thing, for example, this course with 1 million lessons in it, that number of lessons is going to count on both bots. So even though it's the same content, same with your website or your YouTube channel, if you're loading references to that to multiple bots, it's going to count it as two lots of resources. But Kajabi are looking at it so that there will be a way to create like a central database, and then each bot can choose what it wants. So just bear in mind that is coming. But at the moment, if you have multiple bots and you have references, it is going to pull from them. So each bot is whatever you see in here. Like this one's got 426 references. If I had another bot that was pulling from almost the same thing, that's going to use another 426. But that will change in future. With the activity, this is where you can go and see activity that is coming through. So you can export this, and if there are leads, if you have the lead part set up on the bot, you can export it. So again, that integration directly into Kajabi is on the roadmap. It is being looked at. It's just not there yet. So you can export the actual conversations, which is really helpful if you want to pull them into a database and see what questions are being answered. Or you can actually just go into to the specific questions and see, hey, what was this? Like, what questions were people asking? If you do not have a lead set up on the bot, it's just going to tell you the questions anonymously. There's nothing tied back to anyone's, that it's that person asked that question. So if you do want to have something where you can follow up with people, I would suggest having some kind of thing built into the bot so that people can add their email address and you can get back to them. So in some situations, like if it is a teaching assistant type of situation, then that lead thing isn't technically going to be a lead. It's more just like so that you will have the information so that you can follow up with someone. But where you are literally using it as a lead bot, the example that I told you before, where on my template page, I was going to go and add a pop-up, but I'm going to, put the bot onto every page and have the lead gen incorporated into that. Then, that in that case, you would export the leads themselves as opposed to the history. So you've got the choice to do both. But yeah, you can go through and it will tell you where the bot is being used. So this one was done through, I'm suspecting, because it says mykajabi.com, probably the course. This is directly in app. These ones here are, it's saying in app because that app.creator.io is what's linked into here in my actual community. So it's going to go through and give messages, how many messages, what they were, etc. So again, super helpful. Something to bear in mind, which, like stuffed me up for want of a better word, is if you are on the southern hemisphere, or if you're in some part of the world where you have dates that where you put the day first, month second, it's going to display it in American. So on my wish list is, could we have it so that we can set, do we want it in American date or Australian/New Zealand/UK, Canada, I think, I don't know, I'm not sure what the Canadian date format is, but to be able to choose your own date format. Little things. But, it's nice to just be able to at a glance or have some kind of, show me what the date looks like. But yeah, so that's how you can export what is happening within your bot. Customizing it. This is where you can change the name of your bot. I personally think using emojis is nice. You don't have to, you could just give it a name, but you can call it whatever you want. And then also you can change the default message. And this is again where, make it something that works for your brand. I've been a little bit playful with it, but that's just part of who I am. So, putting that in there. So this is the message that will be the first thing that comes up when someone goes into the bot, the automatic thing. So this will appear instantly, prompting someone to pop in a question. The primary color is the buttons that are going to come up, and then these message colors is the, the bot's color, and then the person asking the questions color. So you can customize that. The background's always white though. So yeah. And then further settings that you can do when you are going to go through and set the bot up, it's going to ask you questions, which is then going to, the Creator.io is then going to give that base prompt, which is sort of feeding the AI, the starter information to actually be able to run it. But, I had, a chat with Brent about this, and it's something that Kajabi is going to explore further about, that prompt engineering of different ways and different things that you can add in there to make the bot more helpful. In circumstances like this, do that. Some of that stuff where that might be a trial and error thing. And, I was like, well, if Kajabi could give some resources on that, that'd be insanely helpful. But to start with, I would just use whatever Kajabi creates from the questions that it asks you when you create the bot, but you can certainly come and do additional things afterwards and, make that a bit more, you. And the more that you know about AI, the more that's probably going to help you with that. But as you may know, if you've ever played around with any kind of AI tools, ChatGPT, anything else, the better information you put in, the better information you get out. So, that's where this can continue to evolve. So it may not be you need to recreate the bot. It may just be that you can play with this base prompt and get some ideas. So, I did suggest to Brent that if there were additional ideas or like some kind of resource that would be amazing to help us make that better. And this is the kind of thing where if you've got cool things that you've tried, that if you add them into the community and share them, like I said, we can all grow better together. Depending on your plan, if you are on premium, so $25 or $99 a month, then you will have the option to enable time stamping. I would go to $25 a month just for that. If you've got a lot of content and you are using it as a teaching assistant, that is simply the most helpful aspect of that teaching assistant bot specifically, in my opinion, especially if you do what I do and you have a lot of live calls where you're answering people's questions, and the questions are things that come up regularly, and other people are going to be able to get benefit out of looking at you answering that question in the past. Up until now, the only way that we've been able to do that is by getting another software like Searchy or something and incorporating that into Kajabi, but you don't need to do that anymore. So if you do have Searchy on your site, you may be able to replace having that where it's, linking out to a playlist on Searchy and have it right within the content. But yeah, I absolutely love, that capacity to have the time stamping and go to the part of the video. So it's not just here's the video. It's like, here's the specific part of the video where that is, like, super valuable. So we've got our content collect email address. So if you play with the bot in here, if you go into this, hopefully it'll come up. Where you can have the choice to collect. So even if this is not a lead gen bot, like this is the teaching assistant bot, we can still set this up. However, one little quirk, which again, hopefully will get fixed, or like maybe not fixed, but addressed, is if I wanted to collect an email to follow up, and this is where I might sort of change how I'm thinking about doing it. This might be a do it a different way to get a better outcome. At the moment, like I've got this after 4 messages, like a prompt for them to leave their email so that I can answer the question maybe on the next Q&A, or I could, follow up and send them some more information personally. But if someone doesn't want to leave their address, they're kind of stuck. They can't go any further forward, because when they built this originally, it was within mind that it's for a lead gen. So they want someone's email address. So I had to just add this little thing saying, add the email no@links.com. I was being a bit facetious. Because if you don't add an email in, the bot kind of stops. It'll just say, that's not a valid email. That's not a valid email. So, that is something that I would really like them to address. And if you have this include a freebie with an email submission turned on, you'll see a different behavior. And if anyone wants links to any of these bots, so you can kind of go in and play around and be like, oh, what happens in this situation? Let me know and I can share those. But again, everything's optional. You can turn it on or off, and you can have it so if someone adds the email, instead of saying great, thanks, and then giving the answer, because what happens is at this point, after message 4, the bot will say, whatever you've got in here, by the way, if you'd like to leave your email, we can follow up. When someone puts their email in, it'll say, great, thanks, and then answer the question. So it sort of stops the question process until they've put the email in. And if you wanted to at that point, you could say, awesome, we've got your email, but while you're here, here's this free resource, and you can have a link to it. At this moment in time, that resource link will always say download your freebie, because again, it was designed for lead gen. So I have requested, and when I talked to Brent about having capacity to change the wording of that, and I'll show you why on a bot that I created, where I was sort of like, I didn't give them a freebie. I was just trying to direct people to YouTube. Or you might want to do it for a situation where the bot's not there, so you want to prompt them to do a discovery call or some other thing that's not necessarily a freebie. And yeah, so you can put any link that you'd like, but that wording on download your freebie is more suited at this point to some kind of free resource that they can get. And because I am collecting the email, I'm not sending people to like the template sampler, for example, that I've got. I'm not going to send people to the sign up page for that and say, here's your free resource. I've already got their lead. I'm saying, here it is, go and grab it. And then I'll bring their email in later to potentially add them into an email sequence. And I'll make sure that that first email sequence has a link to the page where they can download whatever it is. So I'm not sort of doing that double step. I'm like, hey, the bot's doing the heavy. I'm not going to make people jump through additional hoops when I'm already collecting all the info. So that can be nicer. So you're not going to necessarily get their name. You're only going to get their email address. But yeah, still helpful. And then you can choose to have this support option showing or not. And let me just move this out of the way. This will be just by that means this little question mark, if someone clicks on it, it's going to open up an email directing to your email that you've added in. So that's a turn on, turn off as well. So that's optional if you want to have that. And if you are on the Pro plan, then you can remove the Creator.io branding. If you have that turned on, it's just going to say powered by Creator.io at the bottom. At any time, you can just delete it. But you'll also, when you delete it, you'll also delete all of the responses and things like that. So if you're going to delete it, make sure that you download everything first. And also think about where it's connected. You might want to remove that connection. Are all the training limits, resources, transcription, etc. per month, like can transcribe 125 minutes? Yes. Okay. So let's just talk about that. So the resources are forever. So that's why I would say be really picky. So the resources, because they stay there. So if you use up 50 resources and you want to add more, then you'll have to remove something else. So that isn't per month. That's just, like 50 is a permanent thing. So it's not like you can load 50 and then another 50 and then another 50. You have 50 in total. The transcription minutes, however, is per month. So that is like why I suggested if you, sorry, 1 second. Oh, sorry. My daughter has a bad habit of charging her phone next to my desk. 1 sec. I don't know how to turn the alarm off. It's really noisy. Sorry. So the transcription minutes is a per month thing, and you can add extra minutes as a one-off whilst you train it up and then go back off that. So even within the free plan, you could add like additional transcription minutes, but the resources will be a per month thing. So yes. And maybe it's that you just do the pro plan and you just go straight up to have that. I don't know, like you can play around with it, but it's there are flexibilities with adding extra credits, extra resources, and extra transcription minutes individually, regardless of what plan you're on. So it's a case of working out, is the higher plan better, or is it just that I do a one-off ad for that? Okay, any other questions before I keep going? Or are we good to go? All right, so where was my, okay, so customer support, but this is one that I created a while ago, where in the customize, I have this set up. It's in the settings. So I had this set up. This is an example where Oh, it wasn't this one. Oh, I should have been more specific. I have one set up. Maybe it was this one. Nope. Suibot, maybe. I've got a few. I need to go through and clean this up. Okay, so this was an example of this freebie. So I didn't technically want to do a freebie. I wanted to say, thanks for your contact info. By the way, have you checked out YouTube? There's free tutorials and resources. And so I made the resource link YouTube, but then when someone actually clicks on that, it doesn't say YouTube, it says download your freebie. So that's the customization. That's on my wish list for that to be able to be specific to each situation. But for now, think of this literally as a freebie. And yeah, also you can choose where that comes up. Like, do you want it to come up at the first message, like straight away, like, or, you can go up to 7 messages deep. So again, this is where I think having different bots situationally might be more helpful than one sort of overall master bot. But you can play around with different things and see what would be most helpful. One of the things that I think, if you're on the free plan or just the plan where you don't have a lot of resources, would be potentially creating like a file that was a PDF of, or and this as well, this is hopefully going to get fixed. Like when you click on this, it doesn't necessarily, okay, so this is the ones that are already uploaded. So when you click on to add new, then you can come in here. But with your file, you could, if you have an ebook. So this is where, again, if you are someone who's created a lot of content, like this is going to be massively helpful. You can load up your ebook and use that as a reference. You can create a CSV file with every frequently asked question you could ever imagine. You can have a doc file, PDFs, like anything that you've done, you can use to train. And if you want to keep within those resource limits, for example, this is my ChatGPT prompt that I have put in, which we'll go back to the top. Which I've said just simply, like, do you have enough information to complete this? Like, I need to come up with the questions for my FAQ. So it's giving me suggested questions of things. So I could create an FAQ, and if I wanted to, I could use ChatGPT and say, like, help me write the answers to these questions. Or you could go through these and also just think of, like, every time you get asked a question for like a week or 2 weeks, like when you answer it, go and add it into an FAQ. Don't worry about formatting it or making it pretty or anything. And then upload that one document that answers multiple questions. And so then the bot will be able to use that to answer the questions and reference, especially if you're doing something like for the customer service bot, like, Kajabi templates. How do I install them? Are they customizable? Do I provide support? Like, this was just a ChatGPT thing that I just popped in to get ideas for FAQ questions. But, you can definitely use ChatGPT type tools to help you come up with the actual FAQs. And then, like we have an FAQ page on our website, like I can use that as a reference as well. So, I mean, I've got the capacity in my one to scrape the entire website, but that's ways that you can sort of get around that limit of the resources to be able to get the best benefit out of it. And the other thing that you can potentially do is going back into your lead bot, or like, any of the bots that you've got, going into that activity and exporting them into a spreadsheet and using that to give you the guidance for your question. So you can be like, all right, that question, you can either put in a resource or a reference, see what the answer was. If the bot answers something helpful, be like, awesome, that's going in an FAQ, and then load that back up. So, there's different ways that you can make the most of that. So I'm going to show you how to embed it. So thankfully the community one is the easiest. So if you're running a Kajabi community, this is, it's so good. So let's go to Sui's Little Helper. We want to copy the link to that. So we're going to copy the link, change it if we want to. And then we go into community and come into our community settings, into the navigation menu, and we can just add it as a page. So we can add something which is like, ask a Q. So the titles on these need to be quite short, but then all you do is paste that in here. And you could make this your primary page if you wanted to. And doing that, just that, is then going to add the bot to your community. So yeah, community, super easy. Let's go and see how we can put it into a Kajabi page or a Kajabi product. So again, we'll get the bot. So we'll just go and copy our embed link this time. And into the Kajabi product, I'm just going to put it into this random product. Okay, so when we want to add it into an actual course area, we can come into the product and into customize, and we can go into the welcome body and add a code block, and then we can just embed this here. And that is going to add to our course when we go and have a look. Now, this is just a fake course. We'll go and preview this, and it's going to put a little bubble down in the corner. So this here is now the chatbot. So I can click on it and open it up. Whether you want that or not, like it's kind of subtle. So, you know, there's been a lot of requests. Could we have something slightly less subtle and actually embed it? So that is also on the coming soon. So, you know, on the roadmap, like Brent was like, these are the things we can promise is happening in the next few weeks, embedding this. So once that is out, then I'll come do an actual tutorial on how to do it. But right now it's going to add, and this is where the color that you choose is going to determine that here. Now, this is awesome, but sometimes there might be situations where people have other things in the way. But yeah, this is how you add it into a course. So you need to add into your customization, go into the section, go into the welcome body and add a code block in your course. You know, like I said, I really like having it in the community. I think that's awesome because it's like right there. You don't need to open something up. But as you can see, like I'm using this internally, and you know, Armor, the Kajabi thing is going over the top of it. That people aren't going to have Armor on their own site, but there are lots of things that people have where things are in the corner. So I think potential for missing it because it's less obvious. At the moment, we actually have, I created a page for our Unicorn Heroes course product because the template that we're using doesn't have code blocks because it's an old legacy template, and I'm in the process of updating the entire Unicorn Heroes area. So we've just linked it to a page, and honestly, no one has really used it that much. Once I put it into the community, it started getting a bit more use. So when it was just on a page and I put something in the menu saying, ask the bot a question, it wasn't really getting a lot of love. And, you know, that's where I think having it embedded. So maybe it's like sitting right here on the page, like ask a question, or you can have a button and it pops it up or something is going to be awesome. In terms of putting it on an actual page, let's just say we want to add onto this page. So probably not the best example because it's already got a form, but say this was one of my my sales pages or something where I wanted to add the bot to it. We can just go and add a section or within a section. So we could just go to this call to action. Actually, that one's hidden, so I don't 100% know if that would work. So let's go into this. Here, again, we add a custom code block. So you can either add it as a section. If you just add it as a block, it doesn't show up on the page, but if you add a section, it might add a little area. So this is the bot here. So it doesn't actually do anything specifically. But once we preview this page, again, you'll see it come up in a sec. And this is where, again, having individual bots, if you've got different things around your site. So there's our bot here down in the corner. So it's not like in your face. It's more subtle, and someone can then, again, click on it and be able to go and ask more information. I would really love that it's after a certain amount of time, it pops up. But yeah, Kajabi at the moment are actually doing something where it is a download section or like an embeddable section on a page. So instead of just being a code block, it'll be an actual block. So yeah, then if you didn't want it to be on there, you can just hide it and it is gone. So that is how easy it is to add it onto a page. And if you're using not a Kajabi website, but you're using Kajabi for your courses or some things, you can add that to anywhere where you can add a, you know, embed through the internet pretty much. So on different, if you've got Squarespace or WordPress or something like that, you'll still be able to use those Creator.io bots on the site. It is not Kajabi specific. It's just that if it is referencing, if the reference material is anything that is locked down, because Kajabi wants to protect your information. They don't want people just, you know, like you use the bot to train it on your course material, and then anyone's just like, all right, I want all the course material. So, you know, you get to choose per bot what is available and what is referenced, and if there is anything that is behind a paywall, then they're not going to be able to access it. You know, my ideal wish list situation is that if they click on that reference link, instead of going to a login page, if someone is not already logged in to your site so that they can access their course, I would love it if it went to a page going, oh, you don't seem to be able to access that. If you already own this product, log in. If not, here's how you can buy it. Something where it sort of prompts them to purchase would be really nice. All right. So in terms of getting the data out, I think we've covered that. And yeah, the connection is coming, and the notification that is on the very short-term future, that instead of it just sort of living there and you don't know that something's happened, like you don't know in your activity, like you've got this activity, you're like, oh, look at that, someone asked me questions, I had no idea. That the capacity to download that, and or even just to be notified that there is something and that there are leads that you can download, that will be coming very, very soon, which I'm pretty thrilled about, because it makes it much more useful and it alerts me that I need to do something. And yes, and then they are looking at integrating it completely. So there's no Zapier integration or anything like that at the moment to get the leads over. It is simply like a go get to the leads and export. And you can either, if there's just a handful, just, I personally think it would be easier to type them in. Like I've got a little trick. We have this internal page that no one else has. It's just for our own team, where I have forms for different things. Like this doesn't have, this is an old one. We didn't have it, but for ages, my old Squarespace site from 2019 didn't actually, I never redirected it because it was on the list. And so occasionally we'd still get a subscriber come through, and we had our Facebook group, and we had ads before I set up my Zapier integration. Like, so this is for our own team, so this is just an internal for us, and then it just saves going through the process of going into your contacts and adding contacts one at a time. You obviously need to have people's permission to do that, but you've got that with the leads. So yeah, so that might be a way where you can just sort of do it quickly, add their name, submit, refresh the page. So this is just for forms that I've created just for our own team's use. So you could do something like that. But yeah, I think I'm at the end of things. Do you want my wish list? My wish list of things? I've got a pretty big wish list. So I haven't got everything. I've probably talked about some stuff as I've gone through. Obviously, that connection with leads is really, really helpful. My dream situation is if you are training your bot on your content, your YouTube, random other things, to be able to have a bot that is for your own internal use to help you do things like write copy, write emails, write summaries of things that happened, in your world, like help you pull out selling points. So because the bot's already got the information. So this is at the moment really external focused, and that is awesome. Like, that's something that's going to help you provide better information, be a better resource, and potentially sell more, especially if you're directing people to the right course or program or resource for them. But it'd be also really nice if you could like use it for yourself. Like it's already got the data, so using it so to save you time. And I know that you can do stuff through Armor, which is Kajabi's little bot that comes up, and I love Armor and I do use it. But sometimes I'll use, like, I've got other ChatGPT programs that I use, that's where it sort of stays all in there. So Armor's sort of more good for on the fly things, but none of this stuff that I'm using is trained on all my content. So being able to have something where it's trained on my content and then being able to use it for another purpose, that central database situation where you load your resources and bots can use any of them, so you're not double loading them, that is very much on my list. I've written down instant connection. I don't know what I mean by that. But yeah, and that login situation. So the references aren't just going to a login page that isn't, that's nice, but it's less helpful. I would like it to go to a more helpful page if someone isn't already logged in, to try and encourage them to come and join your world. There's probably other things as well, but I've talked a lot. So now it is your turn for anyone who is still left with me. Have you got questions? Are you going to use the bots? Is it made you want to use the bots? Tell me all of your thoughts around Creator.io and what questions that you have. Whilst I will stop myself wanting to cough. Just please feel free to unmute, or you can just pop your questions in the chat. No one's got any questions. Okay, Tanya just says, I love it. You've already got a bot, haven't you? You've already started playing around with it. I am curious, do you think that you will create like one bot to rule them all, or do you think that you like the concept of creating different bots for different situations?
For me?
For anyone.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking I love the idea of having central database of where it's drawing all the info from and then turning things on or off. Yeah, I definitely want to have different bots for different pages and courses. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. You're on the like, oh, I love you bots. Because, I guess it's one of those things, like there's some AI stuff where it feels a bit like, is it actually going to help us? Is AI taking over the world? And I guess it's when you are on your own running a business where fielding a lot of questions takes time. So having bots that are able to be that first point, like, so that, the bot is never going to replace you. Like, there's no illusion, but if the bot can reduce your workload, then I'm like, you are worth every cent, you beautiful little bot.
I do have to say sorry, go on.
That was Leanne. So you just finished Tanya, and then Leanne, I'll get your thoughts.
This bot is much better than the previous bot that I tested.
For Creatorio.
Yes,
yeah, definitely.
Much better.
It's markedly, massive improvement.
Much more intelligent, and it speaks better English. The previous bot that I used was gobbledygook, and I had complaints from my customers.
Yeah. So I didn't actually use it the first round because I was like, I don't know if it's actually giving anything that's that helpful. And the improvement is like remarkable. I mean, like when I went in and did that, asking questions, even today, even the improvement from 2 weeks ago when I was like, I'm going to do a thing on Creator.io, like even now that it's not just giving a paragraph, it's giving steps of trained off my content for people on my membership. I'm like, you beauty, you're giving a better answer than I would.
Yeah, absolutely. So good. Love it. And
awesome.
I don't have to have an admin assistant anymore now that I've got this technology. It's so good.
Oh, that's a big money saver. Yeah. See, I think I'm not at that point with it, but I guess it's more just like, if I have an admin assistant, could I put them to be doing something that's a better use of their time that I'm paying them for than stuff that the bot can do for us? And that is where I think it's a case of, I want to play around with at what point to introduce that collecting the email, because sometimes people aren't going to be happy with the answers that they get on a bot. Sometimes they might be like, oh, sweet, and then they'll go and buy stuff. And I can't wait to see that flow happening, like in real time. If it's able to reduce the load, if not remove it, because, and that's one of the things where I really want to make it clear in the language that this is a bot. Like, I don't want people to think it is some kind of live chat support. But also, like, I think you can have fun with it, and that's where you can have fun with that first prompt. And that's where I've been like, hey, it's not me, but it's the next best thing, or whatever language is going to suit your business. Is really helpful. Lara, new to Kajabi, so hopefully this is cool to give you like, oh, once I do get things built out. But I guess the great thing is that even if you don't yet have a lot of content for courses and things like that, as you create things on YouTube, or you create podcasts or blogs, like, you can train it on all of that content too, which is awesome, so that it can get to know you and answer some of the questions. And then as you create those offers, even the smaller offers, which, I always encourage people to do, because we're here to make money, getting a bot to help people through that, or loading up FAQs about a program, and even just putting that into it. So having one FAQ sheet, so thinking of all the questions that I could possibly get, putting it into an FAQ sheet and loading it up means that people can just ask it right on the sales page, and not necessarily have to contact you. And that can, help people make that instant decision, not have to wait for a reply as well, which I think is helpful. Leanne, what's your thoughts? I know Jeff had to jump off, but what are you like? Oh, I think I'm in.
Well, I am multitasking at the same time. So to be fair, I'm new to AI. I think I mentioned this in your community before. I just used a bot to summarize a YouTube video for the very first time a couple weeks ago. So that's my level of comfortability and understanding. However, I can see the potential of these for someone with a more mature online business. But someone like me that is just forming a community, I have 2 courses up. Where would you start with a bot?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So with that, even if you've just got the 2 courses, you could train the bot on both. It depends on, do people have access to both of them in your community, or just like single access to each one?
The courses came before the community, so they are individually purchased by whoever did. They don't have to have access to both.
Okay, so in that case, I would go for not the free plan. I'd do the $10 a month plan, and I'd make one bot for each course and then incorporate it into the course. And, you know, like it depends on like what you're doing. So at the moment, like that's where I was like, oh, I probably have to think about the structure of this a little bit more, because, you know, I'm doing Cash In with Kajabi Week. You know, at some point, you know, I'm going to offer everyone to have a month's free access to Unicorn Hero so that you can come and try it out. But right now, not everyone does. But the bot's still going to give really helpful information, even if the references aren't clickable. So there may be a bot that you have also for your community that's kind of trained on your stuff. I think it's helpful for that FAQ thing as well. So if you're going to train your bot on your course content, then I would also create some kind of FAQ doc or something that you load up as an additional resource. So again, it's those questions like, I lost my, you know, login. How do I reset my password? You know, how do I contact you? Do you offer one-on-one sessions? Like, think of all the questions that people will potentially ask you or already ask you, and put them into an FAQ and load that into the bot. And it can be like, you know, you can make it cute and fun. You can be like, you know, as much as I would love to work 24 hours a day and be there for you whenever you need help, you know, I have created this bot for you. So, you know, start with the bot, and if you can't get the answer, then get in touch. So part of it will be training your, you know, your community, or the people that have your course. So, and it can just be one of the lessons in the onboarding of your course, like, want support? Here's ways you can get support, and then showing people that. And then, you know, it would be, see if people are using it. Like, you can actually go in and see the activity on them. Is it useful? Are people actually using the bot? Is that the best use? And it may not be until you actually put it up that you can determine, what is this helpful? For anything that is regarding sales stuff, like, you could potentially, because this isn't tied to 100% Kajabi, create in Creator.io a bot for your Shopify site, like guiding people to purchase specific things. Because even though I added Kajabi resources into my sales bot, that's not to say you have to. You could add your Shopify or other products in there. It's not restricted to just Kajabi related things. This is a, you know, a Kajabi and broader platform. So that's where you're like, all right, well, I've got this plan. I can incorporate it into Kajabi, but I could also, you know, use it for other things as well.
Well, given what you know about the capabilities of the bot, thinking about the Shopify aspect, it's probably where we would start with it. I imagine my customer coming to my site asking, hey, I want a white dahlia that will perform well either in the garden, or I want to use it for the cut. Can the bot be trained in a way to make suggestions?
Yes, okay. Which is, and this is where I'm not sure if you caught it. I'll just reshare, because this is literally what I did, because the sales bot is brand new. So I was like, I need to play around with that before I come on. So I know, and I kind of put it on there, but then I was too lazy to put the data in the first time I did it. And then I was like, no, I really, like, come on, I'm doing a training. Stop it. So I put the data in. So this was like at, you know, 11 o'clock last night. So I just chucked a couple of things in to see what would come up. And I'm going to show you how, like, I was like, oh, that's good. That's really good.
This is, if it works this way, this is going to make me think about how I write the descriptions and put content about the product in, I would imagine.
100%. All right. So I think I've lost my bot page. I'll just reopen it up. Okay. So this sales bot that I made last night, I put in there data sources. So you can add as many product data sources. So it's just that each data source is going to count as one resource. So if you already have your product description, so I didn't write anything new. I just literally went in. So this is an offer for, what is it for? Hour of Power. So I just went and cut and pasted everything that was already on the checkout page for this Hour of Power, right? Put the price in, link specifically to that product and the title. And then I did that with 2 other products. So and this one was a little bit vague. So that one didn't give me as good a results, because I was trying to link to like the whole shop. This will be better if you link to specific things. And This one as well, you can train it on additional things, but this is where, when I spoke to Brent about the best way to use this, I was like, oh, do I really have to cut and paste everything from the description in there? Like, isn't the point of the bots to scrape it? But for this specific thing, this is where, cutting and pasting from a checkout or a product description or something that you've already got is going to be way better than just like letting it scrape, because it's going to be super specific. These are the answers that it gave me when I went in. Okay, so I just said, this is all I said. I loaded those things up. It took me like 3 minutes. And then I said, hi, I want help with Kajabi. And it gave me this exact answer, which was pulling information from and rewording it from what I'd loaded up, where I just cut and pasted from my checkout page. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty helpful. And I can click on that link to go specifically to then check that product out. So if you had something where, you were like, what is best for you? And that's where I was looking at doing this. So instead of just linking to my template shop, which is on Kajabi, but could be anywhere, I will probably build a template shop bot and then load up each of the products. So it just means that I will have to take a little bit more time to do it, but you do it once, and then, that can then direct people to which template specifically is best for you. So I've gone, do you sell templates? And so then it's given me sort of, from what I put in. So I sort of half put just a couple of blurbs off the shop in general, and then I've given some information. So that's like 90% there, but it's not 100% accurate. But at least it's linking to the template shop, so someone can then link to it. Whereas the other bots don't link directly in the answer. So that's the difference between using the sales bot and using the like teaching assistant and the lead gen. Those ones are going to give links if you have a freebie, or it will have the little resources that come up down the bottom if it's a teaching assistant, not within the actual answers themselves. So that's why I really love the sales bot and taking the time to feed in the information per product. And so then I'm not even asking, the questions I'm asking are super short. So, because you think about when people are on site, they're not, sometimes they might give you a whole story. Sometimes, like, if this is going to be able to give me this answer based from 5 minutes of work, I'm like, oh, you're the best. I am today probably going to, well, maybe not today, because this week is a little busy. But, I'm probably going to go through, because I have my work with us page where I have all the products that I've created. I've probably got 12, 14 digital products that just kind of sit there. But if I can put all the information and then put a bot on the page to help people work out, like, what do you need the most help with right now? Like, do you have digital, so I can see how I can use that to direct people. And then I've said, what if I need more personal help? And then it's linked to this hour of power, because these are the products that I listed in the data sources for that bot. And even on the free one, you get 50. So, just imagine how powerful that is. So my suggestion would be, like, for $10, like a month, go and potentially do it and get the 5 bots so that you can play around with different situations and then use them and see what bots are doing the most, because you can go in and put them on your pages, give it a few weeks and be like, oh man, that one bot, like, people are really digging that. So maybe if you then want to only have one bot, then, you can go. So the only thing that I wish on this, and I guess this can go on my wish list, is I would love some kind of, it might be a case where instead of giving this link, I might add a UTM code, or I might make a specific link so I can see the sale came from the bot. Because at the moment, there may not be a way of tracking that. That's kind of, a bit extra. I'll just be starting to be like, does anyone even use it? Like, are people asking questions? Like, does it help them? And if I go, oh my God, there's heaps of chat history there, like, sweet, it's done its job. But that is the benefit, that it's not just for Kajabi. So for you, Leanne, because you've got the Shopify site, you might be able to use it to help direct to resources. So it's like, primary use would be like, how can you use it to help make you more money? Because especially if you're going to pay for something, it's got to pay its own way. So I'd look at what you can use it for that's going to help you sell more. But if you are fielding a lot of questions, if you have a membership with a lot of people in it and you spend a lot of time each week answering questions, doing that kind of thing, then creating that teaching assistant bot might be the thing that's going to move the needle for you, because it's going to free up a lot of time. If you have a busy inbox where you get lots of questions come through, customer service related questions, creating the customer service bot so that you can, feed it with FAQs and all that kind of stuff, so you can reduce the number of people that are reaching out in the first place and make it a better experience because they get their answer instantly, then that might be where you go. So I'm just, so excited about the possibilities of what you can do with it. So does that answer the question?
Yeah, thanks for sharing the possibilities. It wasn't even on my radar. It might have been on Jeff's, but again, knowing what's possible helps me create the content differently. So again, It's a better user experience for the customer. And it's just a small change on my part to help them 100% better.
Definitely. But like I said, I wouldn't even necessarily stress, because you probably, like, I didn't change what I've already got on my checkouts and it still gave this like super helpful info. This is not word for word checkout stuff. This is taking the information and rewording it in a better way. So it may not even need to be that you do anything different. I would be like, I'll put a couple of descriptions and ask them some questions and see what comes up. And you might be like,
well, it sounds like cool. It sounds like I need to carry this bot on my shoulder so it can reword everything I say in real life.
That is, yes. Oh my gosh. See, that's what I want. Like, that's what I mean when I said, like, we're already giving the bots all of this information. Can we use it for us too? Like, you know, like, it's great for our customers, but I'm like, I kind of want my own bots. Like, can I have an email writer bot and a product description writer bot and you know, all of those kind of things. I think that a YouTube summary bot would be really nice if I'm already feeding my YouTube, like I turn my YouTube into a blog post or into an email newsletter bot. Yeah, that's on my like, oh, this, you know, what are the possibilities? And the really great thing is that Kajabi are super open to possibilities. And, you know, I remember one of my first calls with Brent, like, you know, more than a year ago. And I was like, oh, he was like, okay, give me dream scenario. Like, what would your dream scenario be with AI and these kinds of things? And I was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. What about this? What about that? And some of those things that I mentioned have been incorporated, because I can guarantee you I'm not the only one who goes, that would be a cool use case or scenario. So again, you know, well, I'm a Kajabi fangirl. Like, I love seeing all the things that they are doing and incorporating. And their goal is to help us Kajabi heroes make more money. So they're trying to create resources that are going to help us make more money. And, you know, these bots are definitely a way to do that. And the other thing I did ask about this, training on your community content. If your community is your product, that is also on the radar, but they are looking at, you know, I guess the ethical implications, because a lot of community is the user content. And so it's not always going to be able to, you know, like, they've got to figure out how they can differentiate the training, because it's not like a course product where it's you providing the content and it's training, like in, oh my gosh, that's a great tip, Tanya. Like with the community, there's community people asking questions. So they need to find a way where they could potentially train it on community content, but exclude any personal data of the people that are in the community, because, you know, no one wants that to be happening. So that's a bigger, you know, a thing. But I guess from the community perspective, even just creating one, like, that's why I say, you know, at least even the $10 plan where you can have multiple bots, even just an FAQ bot, like, you know, that kind of customer service bot where you can just, every time you get a question from anyone in your community, add it to the doc, re-upload the doc, and it's still going to just count as one resource. Like, just create like a ugly ass, you know, Google Sheet or like, you know, Word doc or something. And so every time you get one, just cut and paste it. So it's not like where you're like, oh, I need to make it pretty on the page, because that's often what holds me up, because I'm like, oh, I need to get the perfect answer. You don't, you just need to dump the information. So you can then dump it, add it into, you know, so once a week, maybe, if you're getting questions, that, you know, it's a great way. If you're seeing the questions come through on your bot where people are asking a question, you know, go, oh, okay, great, that's going on the FAQ. So especially if you're where something's quite new, so that you're more likely to have more questions, you know, that's a really great way to make sure that it's always up to date. Because yeah, I think there's probably a lot of people like me in that situation where you're like, oh, I want to give an FAQ, but I don't want to have something like ugly and not worded well. You can just ramble, like, you know, and if you don't want to type it, if that's a resistance, because I find sometimes some people hate writing answers, like, open up a Google Doc and put the little transcribe thing on and speak the answer, and then literally cut and paste whatever you've spoken into your thing that you load up into the bot. So it doesn't need to be perfect information is basically what I'm saying.
Well, that is wonderful. Thank you for clarifying that.
No worries. The bot might help make it perfect. And, you know, like, the bot might like give like I said, like this example where I've hopefully still got it up, or maybe I haven't, like, have I got it? No, it's going to go in here. I don't know if it's still going to show. I don't think it refreshes. All right. So a question here, how can I sell an ebook without creating a product? So I've previously answered this question a couple of times on different calls. So it's actually created this entire answer that is way better than an answer that I would have given. Someone emailed me that question, because, you know, I'm really great at answering questions live, but when I have to email, I'm like, oh, okay, I've got to write like a proper email. I've got to make sure what are all the steps. Like I have to kind of think about it. It feels a lot harder. So, I'll probably answer this question. And so it is not just taken whatever rambly ass answer I've given in a Q&A 6 months ago. It's actually stepped it out. Like, here are the steps. Like, this is, when I saw this morning, I just about like, this is even better than it's ever been in the past. I was just like, oh my freaking God, I love you, Suey's little helper. Like, you're the best. But that's going to enable people in my membership to get more out of it. Like, I've created this content, and so much of it, when we run memberships over a long period of time, gets lost, buried, isn't accessible. And this helps like bring it out to actually provide, like, it makes you be a better membership leader and helper, and it brings extra value to the people in the membership. So, yeah.
Well, this provides that extra value over a social media platform.
100%. So yeah, so I really love the integration with the bots into the community, like having this where you can just have it in the menu, is awesome. And because when it first comes up, you can choose the question that comes up, but I don't know whether this is just because I'm an admin, so I'll be curious. I might have to try it in an incognito window or something like that. Like, this has kept my previous history. Like, I'm not sure if it keeps your history, like how long that will stay up for. And yeah. So that's a thing that I want to explore. But even just, someone may not even need to actually go and look at the videos to be able to use that information. I'd be like, oh, cool, you've just answered my question. Thank you. And they're done. And they're super happy. They didn't need to wait. They didn't need to wait till Thursday when I'm going to answer it on a call. But I can see that questions come in, and I might be like, this, how to create an ebook through a ghost offer thing. I've probably done that question 5 times. So I could be like, I don't know if I need to answer that again. If I don't have a lot of submitted questions, I might be like, all right, cool, I'll re-review it. But if something came up and it was a question that someone asked, and I was like, oh, you know what? I've not had that question before. I don't even think I've got like a recent or helpful resource. I could go in like every Wednesday before I do my, Q&A call and pull questions out from the bot activity and answer them on the call and be like, hey, I'm going to do a tutorial on this because I've seen someone ask it. So yeah. Does this bot have an affiliate program? No, it does not at this point. I do think they may be considering it in the future. So, but yeah, that my stance on stuff with affiliates is that I only share things that I would share regardless of whether they had an affiliate program. And I'm just sharing this just out of pure like, oh, I freaking love this. And I just think it's just going to be so helpful. So, and also I'm glad they've made it accessible. Like, like the one bot is going to have limited help because you've only got the 50 resources and the limited answers, because to create this answer, so with the credits per month, let me just quickly look at that as well in case anyone has got, I don't know how many that's used. I can jump in and have a look because that's only come in really, really recently. But Unicorn bot. So to give this answer, like, hang on, let's go back to this pricing page. No, wherever, I've lost the pricing page. Okay, we'll go back to pricing. So with these message credits, every answer that it creates will use a credit. So let's just say it's created this. It's kind of based on sort of the number of characters-ish that it uses. So when you're on the free plan, you may run out of message credits quite quickly if it's being used. But for me, that would be an indication of, yeah, that's probably worth spending $10. If people are actually engaging and interacting, awesome. But if they're not, then you're not going to use the credits up. So that's where, again, if you want to just stay on this basic plan, but you're finding you're using up a lot of credits, you can just purchase additional just credits and you don't have to necessarily go up to the next plan. Same if you're on premium and you're like, well, that's a big jump up to 99, but I'm finding that I'm running out of credits each month, then you can just add just the credits. So yeah, there's definitely options. The one thing I didn't ask Brent that I will, and is the contacts, whether that's like forever, like this contacts I'm assuming is leads. And like, I don't know whether I don't know how you'd remove them. I don't know if that's a in total situation, how that works. Because again, that's a newer thing on the pricing. When you go to the Creator.io site, excuse me, you can also go onto the blog for a few training things. So this will help you a little bit. I'm pretty much covered most of it, I think. but there is an extra resource, and they are going to be giving additional resources for training as well. But when you're in Unicorn Heroes, you can always ask me every Thursday, and then maybe your questions will then get fed into my beautiful bot, and you'll be able to get additional answers. So yes, that is that. Monica bot, I like Monica. Tanya said she's actually added her bot to her email signature. That is cool. And, that I might figure out how to do that when I'm sending out and again, this could be another case, Leanne, for your membership, where you're sending out your weekly summaries, and you might be like, hey, have you got any questions about the membership? It could be something that's really helpful in the onboarding stage when people are brand new, like giving them a resource right in that beginning when they are most likely to have the most questions. That is absolutely gold. So it could be like, you're probably new here, and, I have to sleep sometimes, but you probably want answers to your questions right away. If you need it, go here, and, the bot shall provide. Like some sort of stuff like that, I think could be so useful to help people feel supported from not just day one, but minute one of being in your community and in your world.
I did have it in my signature for quite a while. And then I sort of had this moment where I thought, they're already my customer, or they're a hot lead and they're communicating with me. Is it rude to send them to a bot rather than me be responding in detail on the email? But it is an option. I might put it back in there soon.
but that is where I would like that's the great thing about it when you can do the multiple bots. Maybe you would make an email bot and you look, do you get any activity on it? Are people actually engaging? And if someone isn't, then you go, oh, okay, maybe I don't need to have it on there. But that's where, again, it's about considering what's the use case for the bot. If it's something to help people use your content because they're already in your world, that using a bot and introducing them to it right from the beginning might be really helpful if the bot is trained on your content. If it is a sales bot, it could be in there where it's just an FAQ, like, are you not sure what to get, but you want an instant answer, you don't want to wait for me to reply, click here and, get started, some kind of thing like that. Yeah. So, and I guess it's about wording, like, is this a general help bot that you're just linking to everyone in your email signature? So I would have to consider and play around with how helpful that would be. I think just a general customer service bot might be more helpful than a sales bot for a permanent email signature. But it could be that in your welcome sequence, in your email sequence, when you're bringing people into your world, that you have that specific bot. So that's where I see the case for those specific sales bots for specific things. And especially like if you're doing a big launch for a big program, and you know that people are going to have questions, and it's like a window launch where you're doing it over a week, I think training a bot on everything that you can think of, every question that you get about that program, and putting that bot on the page, putting it into that email sequence when you're selling the program, and saying, if you've got a question, either reply to the email, or if you want an answer right now, my bot might be able to help you. Like, I have downloaded everything in my brain to my bot. Go and, see if that's, going to be able to give you the answer. And if that doesn't give you the answer, contact me. So that's where I think it's just really helpful to be super clear that it is a bot. You're not sort of making it be that vague, like it's a help scout type of situation.
Yeah, thanks. They're great ideas. Thank you.
Yeah. That's my superpower. So I have to remember this and put all the ideas into the community. But if anyone has any other ideas, please share them, because I think there's so much that you can potentially do with it. So, all right, if you want to set a bot up today, if you're like, all right, I'm inspired, please, like, I'm all in, I want to create a bot, you can come and join me for my co-working session. It will be super low key. It was just me, Leanne, and Marianne yesterday, just hanging out. My co-working room, I don't know if it's a software thing. It's a brand new software that I'm trying. Didn't love having videos on. And Leanne, I do apologize that I was struggling to hear you a little bit. So it's more, not so much for the asking me more questions, more just for hanging out together, and we can, chat in the chat room. But if you do want to have someone, so as you're doing it, if you do have questions, you can certainly ask me. And if you're just like, I just want to work knowing other people are also working with me and we're all creating bots together, that's the perfect thing for co-working. You will get a little reminder, and that starts in just over an hour from now. So I'll be hanging in there. So feel free to come and join me. I might be working on my own bots, because even digging into that new sales bot has made me go, oh, this is so cool. So yes. this is the end of our session on Creator.io. If you have further questions, Brent from Kajabi, who's the product lead on this product, is more than happy to come and do an additional FAQ session. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you again soon. Bye.